looking for that great next read or your new favorite author? Check out Amy's Bookshelf Reviews recommendations. You won't be disappointed. Welcome to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. It is a spin-off of the website and book review site of Amy's Bookshelf Reviews. Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast is about book reviews, a writer's muse, a book's peruse, author interviews, and literary news. Welcome to the new year, where new things may happen with this. I hope you all enjoy, and thank you for listening.
Good evening, listeners. I'm Amy, and welcome to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. Today, I am talking about a couple of Talia Haven's books. She is normally she writes short stories, which are amazing, and short stories, as you may know, that are not very easy to write. But also, if you're a short story writer and you decide to challenge yourself and write a full-length novel, that also can be difficult because you're used to putting a lot of information in a short story. Every story obviously needs a beginning, middle, and end, and they all need to be good or better. You want to pull the reader in, have them enjoy your story, and at the end say, oh, I like that story. And hopefully they'll share it, read it again. And I think that's really, it's kind of what any writer wants. They want their work to be read, for people to enjoy it, and then want people who have read one of their pieces go on and read other ones. But this one, Talia Haven, this show is all about her today. She has been interviewed on this show before, so you can go back and check that podcast recording out. It's kind of like how she got inspired to write various stories. This in particular, there's two stories that have been released. One is called Sled, and the other is The House of the Jobless Gods. And this House of the Jobless Gods, this book, was a short story, but it grew into something new and pretty amazing. And what I like about this one is that, I liked the other story as well, that it has multiple points of view, and sometimes you can get lost with that, with having too many points of view. But I think in this case, and spoiler alert, because some of the people just end up dying, so then, it kind of weeds down, and maybe they have a chapter or two about them before they, kick the bucket or whatever. Anyway, so the House of the Jobless Gods, which is it's mythological. It is surrounding the god of all gods, Olympic gods, Zeus. He's the all-powerful king of the Greek gods. But it also brings in some wonderful characters and their various jobs and place of status as a god. There are demigods, which are part human and part god. There are nymphs in this story. There is a bunch of information about various, gods like Hera and her reign of terror. And in this story, we meet Lissa, and she's the primordial goddess of maddening rage, which basically she feeds on her I don't know, another person, and they, because of that, they're not like dying, they're just going into, madness. And then, of course, there's Feme, and I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, and she is the goddess of gossip, which is really interesting. So basically, from Olympus to Earth, rage restores balance. At least it tries to. So Zeus calls Lissa in for a visit, and that's not something that normally happens. So she's very concerned about what she actually is doing and going into this meeting with him, and so she's just trying to figure out, okay, what is going on, and so I'm gonna read just a little bit of the first part of the chapter, and Persephone had already descended into the underworld, and the world was dying. Well, maybe dying is too strong of a word. Let's go with it. The world was getting ready again for her mother's, Demeter's, grief. During the time of changing seasons, I was approached by Pheme, the only daughter of Elpis, the goddess of hope. While Pheme's mother was a goddess of hopeful things, her daughter Pheme was the notorious goddess of rumors and scandals. White-winged, thin, and with dirty blonde hair, Pheme spent most of her time sneaking around, spying on gods and mortals. Finally, she found me alone, walking unseen among mortals in a tiny village. While the humans trudged in the spring mud, I, being a goddess, walked above it. And on that particular day, I was hungry, no more than hungry. I was famished and searching for the perfect, unsuspecting soul to curse with temporary madness. Temporary madness always tastes better when it comes from an ideal, unsuspecting soul. Femi landed practically in front of me. Her feet never touched the ground, her wings flapping, and her brass trumpet in hand, looking eager to spread her news. Giddy with excitement, she could hardly stay as she fluttered about in front of me. Then she leaned into a whisper in my ear, "Zeus needs a goddess." Those were her exact words. Femi quickly added, noticing my instant alarm, "I know what you're thinking. He doesn't need a goddess to warm his couch sheets." I took some comfort from that statement. When she mentioned that Zeus, the youngest son of Rhea and Cronus, and the mighty god of sky and thunder, needed a goddess, that was exactly what I had thought. In all honesty, even though I'm a primordial goddess, I'm far older than Hera and Zeus by at least 3 to 2 million years. And the last thing I wanted was to end up in Hera's bad side. There are just too many problems that come with it. So then I'm going to just fast forward a little bit to her meeting with Zeus. So it was I, and I alone, who the ruler of Mount Olympus had summoned. No one else happened to be present in the roofless throne room when I arrived. The sky was blue overhead with just a few fluffy clouds. Just so you know, when lightning throwing Zeus wants to meet with you, white fluffy clouds are always a good sign. It's just the two of us, and I am on my guard by trying to feel confident. And Zeus, well, he looked like his usual self, handsome as ever, probably the most beautiful god or man I've ever seen. At the same time, he could turn into an annoying beast at any moment. But today, he was wearing a white toga, sandals, shoulder-length hair, and a white beard that he's currently absent-mindedly stroking. His lightning bolts were in the cloud, a safe distance away, but still accessible if he got angry. Never being a god who makes small talk, Zeus, got right to the point. We need to keep the jobless gods under control and from going insane. And with that, I hope that entices you to read this story. It is available on Amazon, and it's The House of the Jobless Gods by Talia Haven. The next story I'm going to talk about from Talia is called Sled. It's a short story, and it's very interesting because she has a way of telling a story and making you realize that, wow, or make you think of something that's like, oh, how did she come up with that? Or, what was her thought process? And then, you read the story and it's like, wow, it's just how she turned whatever thoughts she had, whatever inspiration she had into something that was, that she could put down and make a story out of. And we get to enjoy it by reading it. So that, is something that she definitely has a gift for. So, Sled Runner, pretty, amazing story. And she, I like how she describes her short stories. The description is just like, it is short and to the point. So Sled Runner, it is available on Amazon, in a digital format and also, an audiobook. And the description just for the book is very simple. In a vast barren land plagued by famine and cold, one man dares to discover a way to travel quickly across the tundra. And this also includes a bonus read called The Doubt of Abigail Stalter. So going back to Sled Runner, I'm going to just read a few paragraphs from chapter 1. It wasn't that cold. It wasn't the cold that made Pinga's cheeks burn, but the crisp Arctic wind that blew a mocking howl, causing her cheeks to turn redder as it echoed across the tundra. Sir Meek, that hunter, always asked for a favor. Those were the exact words that Pinga uttered just before she was summoned. So here she was again, sheltered by the rock formations that caught the drifting snow behind it, with Amagwa's mocking howl still ringing in her ears. She's a goddess, forced to go to this place every time that damn mortal decided to show up. He wasn't even a shaman, and yet that cursed Shermeek had managed to use an ancient binding spell. Because of that spell, he made this desolate rock formation into his place of worship. Now, whenever he started his journey to this place, she was forced to notice with great reluctance and be physically present and listen to what he had to say. That is Sled Runner. And it is a very, it's a great story. It's a short read, but you get a lot of information, and the story itself is wonderful. It's, she writes well, she tells her stories, she shows her stories, which is, what I like in reading, that, you could practically, picture what she was picturing when she was writing the story. And, people are great. People can be great storytellers, but if they're a story shower where their words can, basically paint a picture of what is happening, that is something that, that to me, that is something that is an innate skill. It's pretty amazing to be able to do that. Writing short stories is not easy. And actually, it can be very, it can be hard, but if this is what you love to do, then do it. Write your stories, write for yourself first, and then write how you would think, and then you can write for other people, but write for yourself because it is your story. It's in your head. You're putting it on paper and then you're sharing it with people. And everybody has an opinion. Some people will only read short stories. Some will only read long novels. Some people don't read very much. But, and more people should read. And if you don't know how to read or you can only read a little bit, you should want to read because books will take you to a place that you've never been, and you can go there without leaving the comfort of your sofa, your bed, your chair, wherever you are. And it is they take you on great journeys, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, poetry or true crime. Those are the books that, if they're written well, if they're written in the best way, then those are the ones you want to keep reading. And if you like one author's work, you might like other authors like that, and authors that, if you read one of their books and then you'll want to read the next one and then the next one and the next one. I have read a lot of titles by Talia Haven, and I'm just going to kind of go quickly through the list of the books. And if you go to her Amazon profile, you can bring up Amazon.com and search for Talia Haven, and you can find her profile page. You can find it also on Goodreads. Do a search for Talia Haven, Talia Haven, Haven. And some of her other books were Hello, Mama Cried, Cautionary Tale, Delete, Fragments of an Ancient God's Dream, A Unicorn's Virgin, They Never Ever Take the Children, Umaka or Judas's Daughter, The Good Mystic, Hokyo and the Shark God, Sweet Little Princess Irene, Creme du Chat, The Hanging of Cousin Charlotte, and Adab's Gift. And I realized something today. I posted, well, of course, this is pre-recorded. I had posted a review of Talia's book, Sweet Little Princess Irene, and when I was after, I realized that I have been reading her work since 2014 when I started doing book reviews. So 11 years I've been doing book reviews on amysbookshelfreviews.com, and also been reading her work over the years. I thought that was pretty amazing. So it's interesting as well. Talia Haven is, I'm one of her biggest fans, and I like that I can read her work. Her last book, the back cover of House of the Jobless Gods, I designed it for her. So that's pretty. I like when I can have a connection with authors. After I've read their book, or while I've been reading all of their work, because some authors, they've told me that you're the only one that has read every single one of my books. And I find that more people should be aware of these authors that work their heart off, and they just keep writing and hoping that one day someone will read their book, will buy their story. And it's how that's what I wish, more people would read my work, I write short stories and I write full-length novels, and I recently wrote a children's book and published it just because I was inspired by someone that I was doing some work for. And there's something about having inspiration that, you kind of think, oh yeah, whatever. They were inspired. They saw a leaf fall. That inspired them to write a poem. It's not, that can be it. But it's not, sometimes it's just something pops in your head. It triggers a story and you don't realize what it is, what triggers it, but there it is. I think it's pretty amazing that we can do that and, be able to write and share our work. My own, as I said, my own stories aren't part of anything, but, they are in, I have my own written on, Amazon.com, Lulu.com. I have a spotlight page there where I have published digital and paperback and hardcover of some of my books. Some are digital only. And I don't mean to go off because this show is about Talia and how she works very hard and she writes her stories and she is just an amazing person and an amazing writer. So if you are inclined to check out a few short stories, I would recommend you start with Talia's. And then if you have time, you can work your way over to mine. Anyway, if you wish for you or your book to be on the show, go to amysbookshelfreviews.com/podcast. Thank you for listening. Be safe, be well, and always be kind.
Thank you for listening to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews. If you are looking to be on the podcast or looking for a book review, you can go to amysbookshelfreviews.com and look for the appropriate navigational menu. Again, thank you all for listening and being a supporter of this podcast and of the Amy's Bookshelf Reviews, professional reviewers of books and audiobooks. Thank you all. Be safe and be well.